talking of FKF Cup, another team writing history. I'm talking about Kibera Soccer Women, who beat Vihiga United, a giant by all standard, to win the FKF Women's Cup. Take a look at the highlights.
And now, ladies and gentlemen,
And of course, that's Kibera Women. They beat Vihiga Queens in the FKF Women's Cup final. I'll start with you. Zita, now you want to take credit for this success.
No, I just want you guys to clap for the team. Please.
How do we clap?
Like, please, clap for the team.
Zita is taking...
Clap for the team.
Zita
last season,
at least for once, she predicts right.
At least she got her analysis right.
But I think it's biased because by the fact that she's a Kibera girl.
Yes,
so
I'm a Kibera girl. I played football there.
Yeah, by default.
Not by default.
But what she's not telling you, she lays claim to Kibera. Her other roots are also in Vihiga.
That's why she was unable to identify her home in the...
Guys, I came to Kibera when I was very young, man. That's not even my... congratulations to the girls. Of course, winning that the cup means a lot, even for the for the country, for us Kibera people. You know, you saw Mboya, what she has been doing. You saw Medina, what she has been doing. Actually, in the national team, and again coming to the team that is the home, the Kibera soccer girl women's team. Yani, I'm excited. I don't even know what to give them. But again, congratulations to them. We're waiting for them to go and represent Kenya in the CAF championship, of course, the international championship, and we will be there to support them. Yes.
Wakili, maybe you can chime in on this.
Yes, I'll be very brief. You know, when amidst the Iran-Israel war, we heard about aerodromes, the ones which arrest the nuclear attacks in the air. And when Kibera beat Kenya Police Bullets, they were the aerodromes that arrested the bullets in the air. You know, the bullets being back-to-back winners, I thought they would do a double, but it didn't work out. And therefore, the Kibera ladies, girls, much as I congratulate them, I have the feeling that they confirmed it was not a fluke when they outmuscled Kenya Police Bullets. Congratulations to them. We hope that they can be able to replicate the same form come next year's Cup. And my rallying call would be, perhaps, Zita, you may tell us, there may be need for an increase on the prize money of such cup winners, so that it needs not necessarily replicate that which the boys are given, or the men, but let it be something that is commensurate to the efforts of these girls, given that their efforts are also so many, and you don't reach such a level just out of nowhere. Congratulations to Kibera girls. Congratulations to Zita.
Thank you.
Congratulations also to Vihiga, the Vihiga Queens, because they've been out of the scene, but we know what they did, what they've contributed to the quality of the ladies' games reaching this level.
Isia, before we go to the gender story, Lindsay is telling me technique. Look at the technique. And probably that talks to how competitive the women league has become.
Yes. And number one, like Zita mentioned, you look at the contribution of the players in the national team also, gives you, for sure, confirms that it has become very competitive. Mboya there, of course, even the technical bench, Vijag, of course, has been also very instrumental in the national team with Beldin there. And it's something that is really exciting to see what we are seeing. The competition again, it has moved from being a Vihiga issue and police issue alone. Now we are seeing Kibera stamping the authority. I have loved the way they have shown that really this is not going to be a farmers' league. You understand? The way sometimes there has been on the men's side. But importantly, there is the idea of the support for the girls. And I think Wakili Munyendo has mentioned it. And this is very critical. If you compare how our girls are performing as far as football is concerned, for sure we need to ask, if you feed the cow that brings you more milk better, how we are treating them.
Yeah.
You know, I made noise the Saturday on Michezo na Burudani about even Madam Kerubo, who is now the woman rep, in the neck. You see, the only slot that is put there purposely for females. Because, like, for example, when police bullets were being crowned, she was not there. And this time around I was asking, can't we hear more of our voice when it comes to some of the things we are raising here? The idea of better payment, the idea of even, for example, when we were hearing about WhatsApp groups, when the Harambee Stars were going to Tanzania, some people say we are not going to play because we have not been paid. We expected her to come out and say, by the way, I'm here because of these girls and all that. Wow. Essentially, I'm saying, leave alone just the question of the woman rep. All of us need to speak more, because when an effort is not rewarded, if a child is always number one and you just look at that child and don't tell her or tell him that you are doing well, then what you are doing, you are demoralizing her. Now, there's something that is going to happen with the Premier League next season. It's going to be very competitive, because Vijago is telling police bullets that I'm here. I've conquered you in the cup. It did not materialize in the league, but we can compete. And I like that kind of rivalry that is now developing between even like Vijago, who is the deputy of Beldin in the Harambee Starlets. It brings some spice in our football. But I pity Shitera's Vihiga, because I don't know what has happened over time. It is fading like a dew when the sun knocks. You see, in a sunny day.
When we talk of women football, one man we must give it to him is Nick Kidhuku Mwendwa, because he's the guy who really put the foundation of women football. Na wanasema mgala muue lakini haki yake mpe. Nick, when he came in, I think this is one project that he successfully delivered, and it's a challenge to.
Yes, bursting with the laughter.
No, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. It's a challenge. It's a challenge to one Hussein Mohammed now to take this to the next level, because Nick did the foundation, but you need to put up the house and probably roof it. So we cannot sit back and watch our girls doing marvelous thing on the field, but they are not getting monetary reward for it. Why don't you put in money to these girls, motivate them, even as we see in terms of prize money? And Vihiga United, I would say that when this thing was launched, probably they were on the table. And apparently now everyone is realizing that we can do it. And that's why the competition is rising. And Vihiga now being relegated.
What's the solution to their problems?
The solution to their problem is that they really need to invest again in terms of
quality squad.
The quality squad will come with proper financial remuneration to the players, because whenever they identify talents among the teams in the Western Province, remember Butere Girls, Madira, all those ladies from Western, they are picked up by the teams that have the financial muscles. So Senelwa, my good friend, it's high time now to take again Vihiga Queens to the next level. Sio ile timu sasa ya nyumbani yenye tulikuwa tumezoea tu ya kuleta wasichana kutoka high school to the camp and giving them a platform to the Premier League.
Absolutely.
You really need to improve even their welfare. You remember I did a story on the girls who are renting houses, wanaishi pamoja. So it's a challenge to them. Whatever Kibera, Bullets and the other teams are doing, it's gonna suffocate you, Vihiga Queens.
Of course, that's the challenge to them. We hope things change. A new study by the Aga Khan University Graduate School of Media and Communication details a sharp increase in gender-based violence against women in sports across East Africa. The study, which took 3 years and covered 3 East African countries, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, shows that Kenya tops the chart in reported cases, which surged to 69%, up from 43% reported in 2022 by the Ministry of Sports. And as Ziti Jimoi reports, Tanzania follows closely at 62%, while Uganda recorded the lowest prevalence at 48%.
I would say most coaches use coercion in winning their targets. There is this very senior club in one of our disciplines, and the coach also happens to be a national coach. So definitely, you know what it means. It means that you don't give in to the advances, then you're out of the national team.
The study surveyed 748 individuals, including athletes, coaches, team officials, and club owners. The majority of respondents were aged between 18 and 34.
Now, majority of the respondents, as you realize, were athletes and younger. And from the interviews, we realized that most of them cannot identify or even label emotional abuse.
The research examines all forms of violence, that is, verbal, physical, emotional, and sexual violence. Verbal abuse was identified as the most prevalent abuse across the three countries, with Tanzania leading at 48%, followed by Uganda at 46%, and Kenya at 34%.
Verbal abuse was found to be the most prevalent form of sexual and gender-based violence, but he also highlighted emotional abuse. Now, majority of the respondents, as you realize, were athletes and younger. And from the interviews, we realized that most of them cannot identify or even label emotional abuse.
On sexual harassment, Kenya ranks highest at 19%. On physical abuse, both Kenya and Tanzania reported equal prevalence at 12%. Beyond coaches and teammates, fans emerge as major perpetrators of SGBV. Uganda reported the highest rate of abuse by fans at 43%, followed by Kenya at 34% and Tanzania at 23%.
Then coaching styles again were reported to be contributing to the culture of gender-based violence and sexual exploitation. So we have 49 who say that coaching styles contribute. And one of the key things that came out is what the coach does, not necessarily what the coach says.
The report highlighted key factors contributing to high rate of SGBV. The factors were fear of retaliation, lack of trust in reporting system, stigma, and risk of victimization. Uganda recorded the highest percentage of unreported cases at 45%, followed by Kenya at 35% and Tanzania at 31%.
We found out from the studies that fear of retaliation and the attendant consequences on an athlete's career happens to be the top reasons why athletes don't report.
Athletics Kenya President, Lieutenant Retired General Jackson Tuwei, decried the menace, noting that SGBV manifests not only in the field but at home of the athletes too.
If there is any sport that has been affected by this sexual-based violence, it is athletics. We have had a number of public outcry of athletes losing property and money, and some of these have led to violence. It has been one of the biggest challenges that we have, that when athletes come and they establish themselves, they buy some property and so forth and so on, they become victims.
Kerubo Momanyi, FKF's NEC women representative, emphasized the importance of implementing the study's findings to help weed out the cancer.
Some of these presentations, we are called for so many research findings and launches and gender events, but we've not been seeing a lot of the movement from the presentation to the pitch. And of course, it's the athletes that mostly need these things to translate into action. So one of the reasons I came is maybe to challenge a lot of these people who are doing a lot of this research, which is very factual, by the way, because our athletes are the respondents, is for them to look for areas of proper collaboration on how to translate findings into actual actions for the athletes.
We are already doing something in regards to SGBV, but at grassroots level. It was launched in March on Women's Day, actually, Women's International Day in Kakamega.
Stakeholders are now calling for meaningful change within the sports setup by now having more women incorporated at decision-making table if efforts to stamp out the vice is to be released. For Sporty Monday, I am Zita Jimoy.
Zita Jimoy there on SGBV in sports. This is a topic that just whispered around. Wakili, we're out of time, but I'll come to you as Wakili. Real quick, how do you weed out this menace?
Now, firstly, I haven't read the report, but what I'm aware, and maybe I may not make a public disclosure, there are several cases of this stigmatization, sexual violence. And you remember during the tenure of Ambassador Amina Mohamed, she appointed some ad hoc committee to investigate something on, there was hue and outcry out of the sport of, was it basketball? Or it was just to generally check on the sexual violence. It starts like a joke, then it may end up in death. We have lost at least 2 athletes or 3 athletes out of violence.
High-profile athletes.
Yes.
One of them, Agnes Tirop.
Yes, and you know, it was somebody who was very close to her. That's still sexual violence. And
speaking to that, by the way, the guy is at large.
Yeah, the guy is
a perpetrator.
The guy is at large. Now, maybe because of constraints of time, we may not delve deeper. But this is a very emotive issue that we can technically dissect on many aspects. My rallying call would be, there's the importance and the instance of international sporting federations. They've always called for safeguarding officers and safeguarding policies. Many federations need to not only have safeguarding policies as any other paper on their shelves, but they need to implement. They need to have safeguarding officers so that whistleblowing and follow-up on punishment of these perpetrators can be enacted. Lastly, these perpetrators also need to be blacklisted. You cannot perpetrate sexual violence in rugby, women, then because you are a talented guy or multi-talented, you sneak into kabaddi or you sneak into athletics as a coach. You need to be blacklisted. And that is part of even one of my suggestions when, you know, there's an amendment to the Sports Act. That was part of my suggestions on specific regulations on blacklisting of perpetrators of sexual violence, not only to women, but to children, because those are the 2 most vulnerable groups when it comes to sexual violence. You remember there was somebody who was found guilty and jailed in Kwale, a coach who was molesting young children. Was it Kwale or Kilifi? Yeah. Maybe we can clarify later on. Thank you.
Ziti, as you take us to the commentary, maybe just answer the question. I read that report, and one of the findings was there is the fear. Those who are victims suffer in silence, not reporting.
I think because people who are doing that, people who are molesting them, they're people, maybe they're coaches and they have power upon them. Or maybe if they're reporting all these cases, nothing is being done. We've seen a lot of cases, even in the Kenya Women Premier League, actually, that is, the cases are there, but the same perpetrators, they're still in the game, they're still controlling the game. We've seen cases even in the rugby department, but again, the federations there's nothing that is being done for this, and then there's no the safeguarding protection upon these athletes, knowing that if I go and report this case, of course I am okay, my job will be okay. If I know he's a national team coach, but I am sure that I am protected under the law that is being there. So the research is out, but again we are asking, how are the federation going to use this research to help those people who are being affected? As a sexual being sexual violated. Apart from that, of course, as we leave the sexual violation story, we are back into the Swila Shot. And Swila Shot today, we are going to look into the election that happened yesterday at Kasarani. Of course, the FC Leopard, they have new chairman now, that is Boniface Ambani. But again, what is it in for Boniface Ambani as the new chairman of FC Leopards? This is Swila Shot.